I'm Claudia Raffay, the Director of Marketing and Member Services, answering questions from our members with our forester, Rob Guevara.
My name is Robert Guevara. I'm a certified arborist. I was hired by Sussex REC as their forester to manage tree trimming and member concerns with trees. We trim trees to increase system reliability. Trees can cause outages if the branches grow into the lines. They can also cause fires. We cut the trees 10 feet away from the sides of the line and 15 foot above so they can't bend into the lines during a storm. We take at least 10 feet. It may be more. Proper pruning practices don't like you to leave stubs. They want it cut all the way back to the tree, so if it's 12 feet to the tree, they don't leave a 2-foot piece. They go the total 12 feet. It's better for the health of the tree.
When we take a tree down, do we take the whole tree away?
No, we remove the hazard to our lines. We take it below the communication lines to where it is safe for any contractor to remove the stump, and there's no hazard to our equipment.
And do we take the wood away?
No, we don't. We stack it up neatly in manageable pieces on the roadside. They could offer it to friends and family as firewood, neighbors.
They could also probably put a sign on it, free.
Yes,
I'm sure it would go really fast.
definitely.
And what's the difference between trimming in our regular cycle and when there's a storm?
During our regular cycle, it's scheduled. It's not as much of a time crunch as compared to when a storm, it's an emergency. It's remove the hazard and turn the power back on.
What areas would Sussex Rural be responsible for trimming?
We trim trees within 10 feet of either side of the power line, and anything touching or putting weight onto a service wire.
It's only when it's touching the service wire?
Correct. This is a pretty standard practice.
So if a tree is hanging over someone's service wire, but it's not touching it, whose
That would
responsibility
be the
is it?
member's responsibility.
It's the member's responsibility. Okay. How do we determine if we actually remove a tree?
We determine that based on the tree's health, its proximity to Sussex rural equipment. If it's leaning towards it, it has to have a specific target. In our case, it's Sussex rural equipment poles, power lines, transformers. We determine that and our time frame by the overall health of the tree. If the base is rotted, it would go on more of a priority than a tree that's mildly leaning towards the power lines.
So if a tree is mildly leaning towards the power lines, when would you schedule that?
We scheduled within the normal trimming cycle for the area.
Okay, and you said we had a 4-year cycle of trimming.
Correct.
And how do you determine if a tree is dead?
The easiest way is taking, if you can get to a small branch and crack it open, and you see if there's any green left inside the twig. If it's dry and brittle, there's spark loss, another big sign.
What kinds of trends or reoccurring problems are you seeing with trees in our area?
Currently, our biggest reoccurring trend is the emerald ash borer killing the ash trees.
And this is a big problem. It's not just here, correct?
It's a worldwide problem. Only 5% of the world's population of ash is left. We are starting to see some becoming healthier.
Oh, ash trees are becoming healthier?
Yes, we have one right here. It's got about 80% of its crown. They were considering ash trees unsavable at the point where it had 30% left. And this is a big change. I think the emerald ash borer is starting to move on where there's more of a food load.
So this is a positive sign that all the ash won't go away.
Yes.
And any other issues that you're seeing? I hear the sponge moth, which used to be called the gypsy moth, is an issue this year.
Yes. We're starting to see their silk hanging from trees and them defoliating full trees very, very quickly.
When a tree is defoliated, that really means that it can't feed itself, correct?
Correct. But it is not dead at that point.
So Rob, what are things that the homeowner can do to make sure that their trees don't grow into our power lines?
Homeowners should be conscious of how tall the new tree they plant is going to grow. Make sure it isn't going to grow into the power lines. We have information about where to locate a new tree depending on its height. Most nurseries, they'll explain the growth rate, how tall they grow. The Arbor Day Foundation has a program called Right Tree, Right Place. There's a lot of information on their website of how to limit tree-to-wire contacts.
And what should a member do if they believe a tree near power lines is dead or dying?
Contact the utility and preferably send pictures by email to trees@sussexrec.com. Mark the tree with a ribbon, put a cone in front of it, anything that's an identifying item.
All this information is explained in our vegetation management guide and also on our website. Sussex Rural is always serving our members and trying to do the best we can, because it's our mission since 1937 to provide you with the most reliable power at the lowest possible cost.